And you might be asking yourselves, these sounds are totally random. They make no sense. I can't use them. You can. I'll show you how. Coming up with an idea for your track can be very daunting sometimes, especially if you're not feeling inspired. Using loops is one option, but it's just not as satisfying as coming up with your own unique sound. And today, I'm going to show you how to do so using 2 free sound design tools. So let's dive in. As you can see here, I have a kick loaded up that's playing a 4x4 groove, pretty usual for house music, set to 120 BPM. So that's usually how I start my tracks, just with a Rhythmic Foundation. At this point, I would just look for a loop, a sample, anything that would just get the inspirational juices flowing. So I could choose a shaker, for instance. Okay, sounds good, but again, not as satisfying as perhaps creating something unique, something of your own. So how do we do that? Let's look for a loop that contains a wider variety of percussions. So maybe some higher sounds, some lower frequency sounds. Okay, I kind of like this one because it has some natural sounds in there, some congas, some bongos. So I'm just going to drag it and drop it into my session over here. It would be pretty boring to take the entire loop and just use it like that. Here's where the sound design tools come in. These tools are by Glitchmachines, and the first one is called Fracture. The second one is called Hysteresis, and they both have pretty much the same interface. They look very modern, and they basically are designed to output very glitchy sounds, as the company name might suggest. And you can tweak these parameters and see how that manipulates the audio. So let's hit play. Like straight out the bat, it already manipulates the sound in a really, really odd way. It creates delays, it adds glitches, and you get to see within these top parameters what exactly it does. So hysteresis is more based on delays and stutters, as you can see here. And fracture is based on buffering, so basically chopping the sound. Try yourself out. It's fun to mess around with these tools. But the feature that I love the most is this question mark over here, because this basically randomizes all of your parameters. And you might be asking yourselves, these sounds are totally random. They make no sense. I can't use them. You can. I'll show you how. So our goal is to manipulate the audio and generate results that would sound interesting and that we otherwise wouldn't have come up with. And the usual way to do this resampling or record the results is to create an audio track, hit resampling, record arm, and then record this track that I have soloed here. Right, enable the glitch effects. And you can see that it's recorded that now into a new layer. If you feel like this process costs you a bit too much time and is a bit too tedious, you can also use this Max for Live device called BIP, which is the shortcut for bounce in place. I believe it costs somewhere between $3 or $4 US, but it's really worth it because it saves you a lot of time. You see that if you load it onto your master, you can then right click, edit key map, and assign the post mixer, which is basically the resampling, to any key of your keyboard. I've routed it to this button at the very top over here that is basically never used. It's like the multiply button, and I've routed it to the post mixer. So I just click that button here, hit escape, and now if I click the track that I'd like to resample and hit that multiply button, it automatically solos and resamples it into a new layer, and that saves you a lot of time. So let's go through this entire process again with the kick playing, the shaker loose, and let's randomize the parameters as many times as we'd like until we come up with a sound that sounds cool. So again, click the track that you'd like to resample, hit the shortcut that you've assigned previously, and it'll start recording. Open up both of these plugins and now mess around with the parameters. Or just hit randomize. Ooh, bubbly. You could also load presets. mean, look at this. Look at the result that it's given us. So unusual, so strange. And you could turn every single one of these audio pieces into some new effect, some transition sound, or a little in-between little percussion bleep. Even if it's just a small sound, it's really, really worth it. So I'm going to go through the resampled audio layer now and just look for snippets in the sound that I like and that I could preferably chop out. And for chopping, I usually use eighth notes to split out audio that I like. I'm going to disable this layer for now because I want to work with the resampled audio. And you can really close your eyes to get a better feel for the sounds. I feel like it helps to just let loose. I know it may sound hippie, but it's true. Holy moly, man. I really, really like this part here. It sounds unusual, but we can make something work. So I'm going to split this sound, hit Option, and drag it onto a new layer, and just drag it to the very front like this. Here's where it gets really sound designy. You can then disable the bip layer, the original bounced out layer, the resampled layer. And now we're going to look for a reverb, and I prefer using Ableton stock. Therefore, I'm going to go into delay reverb and look for echo. Put that here, add a lot of feedback. So we combine some reverb and delay, ping pong, reduce dry wet. And if you crank up that feedback, you get some textures. Really, really great for techno. Let's disable the echo and we can start repitching the sound. So let's stay in Complex Pro, which is a really nice algorithm for repitching sounds to retain the melodic information. And what you can do is also loop a specific section of your audio file to create more of a rhythmic vibe. And find your favorite selection. You can also set the starting point here. And since we chopped this guy out from an entire loop, we can also go back to the original loop that we've resampled and look for maybe a section that we like from the beginning. I mean, that is so textural, so amazing. I wouldn't have otherwise come up with this. Right, and then you can start forging the sound a bit more, reduce its place in the mix by maybe adding high cut, low cut. Kind of like the high end here. Holy moly, dude. And we have so much material to work with. Look at all this. We can take any part of the sound and just chop it up. We can even take like a little one shot. Let's zoom in, highlight this section, for example. I didn't even listen to it. I'm just looking for a random part in the sound that I could end up using. And let's drag this away for now. Let's play this. So that's that little snippet here. And if you don't want to always go back to the original audio file, you can still take this snippet, hit Option Shift until this Mickey Mouse hand appears, and then it'll allow you to shift through the sample within the designated audio clip. You can also change it to 16th, and then you'll move it by 16th every time. You can also change it to 4 bars, then it'll move it by 4 bars every time. But I'm going to stick with 16th for now. So let's drag it. Weird. Weird. Still weird. Let's see if we can find something more usable. That's cool. I like that. Maybe we could take this, double click the sound, change the warp mode to beats, and I really like forward transient, and dial down the amount here so it becomes more percussive. Holy. Like a little offbeat percussion there. Could also hit R to reverse the sample. Nice. I like that. And you could take this, put it into different sections of your groove. Man, we got some polyrhythmic stuff going on, which is really nice. And then duplicate this until the end. Look at the groove. And then we can blend in the original sample that we've originally selected. This is just absolutely mind-numbingly amazing. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed. If you like these sounds, feel free to grab them on Lotus Tunes. Drop a like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.